Hello and welcome to a new waste circularity interview session. Today we're going to talk about the waste sorting industry with Cedric Vanderbeken. Hi Cedric, and thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Cedric. So Cedric, you are the CEO of Drycake, a global separation technology provider for liquid and solid waste reuse and recovery infrastructure, if I'm not wrong. And in this regard, I wanted to firstly ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself, your company, your team, maybe. Why not, for our audience, please?
Okay, well, Drycake was founded in 1995. So our specialty is separation process solutions, and it's been a constant evolution of our product range, and always working on quality and reliability and with the best performance in mind. And as of recent years, with a big shift towards organic waste recycling and food waste, we developed a state-of-the-art technology called the Twister, which separates packaging from food waste. Personally, I started with the company 15 years ago now, and I've been the CEO and technical director for the last 7 years. So we are based we have an office in Canada, and then also in Belgium and in the Netherlands. And we manufacture everything in Europe.
In what markets do you currently operate besides this country that you have just mentioned? And do you have any plans toward expanding maybe to Central and Eastern Europe markets?
Yeah, we installed a food waste depackaging machine just now in Poland. It was just delivered. This is for household food waste. We also have an installation now in Czech Republic, which is doing bakery waste for animal feed. And we are working on, in Europe, not just Central Europe, but we are also working on installation in Spain. And outside of the biogas food waste markets, historically our business has always been in separation, but also in all kinds of liquid waste and solid waste. So right now, for example, in our Canadian office is also working on dealing with the waste from lithium battery recycling. It's quite varied. We're working on an innovative project also in Canada to make concrete from waste shellfish. But in Europe, our primary focus is really food waste, because we believe that's like in the environment sector, there's always the main trend, the main business activity. And today with energy prices and greenhouse gas emissions, the real focus for our companies is dealing with food waste recycling and removing all the plastics, because when we recycle the food waste, it's important there's no plastics or packaging in it, because they end up converting that in essentially organic fertilizer.
Thank you, Cedric. I would like now to ask you a little bit about the current status of the waste separation industry in the EU, mostly in terms of, let's say, technicals, legal, or even political challenges, and also maybe a comparison with the North American market, since you are activated in both these continents.
On the environment, Europe is always first. Let's say that's one thing we always keep in mind. Environment legislation is just very well structured in Europe. So politically, we have a mandate in Europe today to stop the incineration of food waste. So the market is ready to really explode, but it's happening worldwide. I would say it's the first time what I'm seeing is it's happening everywhere, but the legislation in Europe is more clear and it's more strict. So it will form the basis of everything around the world. The amount of plastics that can be in the rejects, the cleanliness of the separated packaging. But politically, what they've put in place is that across Europe, food waste has to be recycled starting 2024. So plants are being built. People are looking around, it's a hot market. However, the main challenge today has to do at the national level or even the regional level, depending on the countries, that have to do with permitting and time of construction. So this is something that can vary, they need to figure out a way to fast track. This is one part. And the second part is collection. So you have to collect all of the food waste from the households or from the industries. And it took a long time to come across a standard way of doing that was the most effective. We're at that stage now, but if you're looking, and there's something that's always a bit different that you can see on each market. In Lithuania, they're already started. In Italy, they've already started. Italy's actually been doing it the longest, but in Lithuania, they already have this household food waste collection. But I'm calling you here from Brussels, and we're going to start in May, really having a mandatory food waste collection. In France, they haven't started yet, but they're going to do it soon. So this is really something where there's two things happening. The collection has contracts involved and people involved. And so if you actually have a really robust waste collection system in place in places like France or Belgium or even Germany, what ends up happening is that it actually can take longer to make the shift. Whereas if you because you already have 4 bins, one for plastic, one for paper, one for glass, but in countries where there wasn't really any differentiation, everything was just going in one bin. In a way, they have kind of an advantage because they're starting from zero, and they're going right away to the best practices. Whereas in France or in Belgium, they actually have to really consider how to make that shift from the current system to the new one, and there's a lot more players involved. So that's the main thing. And without the collection of organics, then there is no demand for the processing facilities, the recycling facilities, which is similar to how recycling was at the beginning, right? First, you need the product to recycle, and then you can build a facility. But without the facility, there's no reason to collect. So we're kind of in the middle of some things in that sense. We need to make sure the permits are in place so that we know when to do collection. And then from permitting, it takes more than a year to build a facility. So there's the potential that waste is being collected, but then, I think, there's stories around on other kinds of recycling waste, not just organics, where you have a separate collection, but then nothing is done with it. And that's normal in the sense where that the facility needs to be up and running, but somebody has to be first. Either the facility is ready to accept the waste, or the collection is in place while they're building the facility.
Okay. Thank you. What about the Drycake's equipment? Because you have on your website a whole range of different products and services. Maybe you could tell us a little bit what is their application and who are they addressed to? For example, what industries could benefit most from your technology, maybe?
Since we're focused on the European market, I'm going to focus on which technologies we're really focused on in Europe, which is the organics recycling technologies. I mean, Drycake as a company is involved in all mechanical separation for all kinds of waste. So wastewater or solid waste, organic waste, biogas, dairy manure. But in Europe, we're really focused on organics recycling technologies. So we provide mechanical pre-treatment technology and modules to separate the packaging from the inert fraction of the food waste. And we also provide technologies for removing the inerts, or let's say the sand, for dairy manure biogas projects. So the biogas industry is our main target. However, the customers will vary in function of the business model of each country, but it can really just be split on the following basis. Is the food waste recycled at a collection facility or on site at a biogas plant? So this is one thing. So either it's a waste processor or it's the biogas facility itself that is that is accepting the waste. And from a customer point of view, you have those who are building new biogas facilities or new organics processing centers. And then you also have those that have excess capacity in their existing biogas reactors. And in those cases, we're talking about agricultural biogas, agricultural biogas plants, or rendering facilities with biogas reactors in the meat industry. So that this is really where the split is happening. And in some places, you can even consider that cities or municipalities, they have the potential to add food waste to their biogas reactors as well if they have excess capacity. So the main customers really, if you're looking at new build, is one, facilities that are just accepting processing waste, making an organic soup and sending it to a biogas plant, or two, fully turnkey biogas plants with integrated processing centers. So you have, two kind of customers in that stream. And the twister is really the core technology where we build everything around. That's our depackager. And then we follow it up with a whole bunch of equipment around it, so that if you are a biogas plant builder and you want to focus on your part of the technology, then we will bring everything from the reception of the goods, the storage halls, the transfer, the pumps, the air treatment, removing the inerts, bringing it over to essentially the next step. So we are able to bring in a complete scope of pre-treatment built around our core twister technology, so that the biogas facilities are really clear about, okay, we want the food waste, but we want it in a certain way with a certain level of quality, because our expertise is running biogas reactors. So we don't want to learn or decide what happens before. We want to leave that expertise to Drycake, and which is because our expertise really is this separation technology, which is mechanical, and the biogas facility companies, their expertise is biological, and that's where the division lies.
Yeah, thank you, Cedric. So basically, you offer the full range of the product from the beginning until the implementation. If someone
until everything up to the point where you bring it to the biogas reactor. From the truck to the biogas reactor. I mean, we don't provide the truck itself, so we can provide all of that, or we can provide the individual equipments that you will put inside a facility. We did a facility in France where they already had an existing depackager, which separating the packaging from the food waste, but they had a problem with residual plastics in the soup, with sand in the soup, or the biopulp is what you could call it as well, that goes to the biogas reactor. So they took our technology on board afterwards to clean it. But in other facilities, we're doing the whole package. In other facilities, they say we just want the twister, and we will take care of loading bays and conveyors and pumps. We just want your core technology. And that all depends on the customer. Some people like turnkey, and some people, they prefer to integrate it into their own design. In Norway, I'm working on a turnkey project. We also work with for the companies who are looking to develop their own approach, and they want to kind of integrate our technology into their process. We also help them make a project-specific or client-specific pre-treatment module that matches how the customer sees handling the trucks coming in, which is really one of the big parts, how to bring it in, if they want to use pumps or conveyors. Because our real expertise is we're process people first. We manufacture equipment, we sell equipment, that solves a problem. But what we're really trying to do is create an organic product that meets, the quality standards of today, the environmental regulations, and we have a process approach and a project approach, which means we go along with the customer, we develop a project or a customer-specific solution that uses our equipment, and that's really the big thing about Drycake is we're not here selling steel or just machines. We are really providing solutions. We're a technology provider.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Thank you, Cedric. In the end, I would like to also talk a little bit about the future of this waste sorting industry and ask you, how do you imagine, let's say, in a time frame of 5 years, the evolution of this industry in terms of net zero targets, for example, and also maybe just to follow up, what do you consider to be the factors that will decisively influence the players on this market?
Okay, well, there's a few things. I mean, in the future, right? So today, what we're taking is the biopulp coming from our system is either compost or converted to biogas. So the contribution to the net zero is, first, we stop to incinerate food waste, which reduces pollution. Second, by recycling food waste into an organic fertilizer, we reduce our dependence on fertilizers that are energy intensive to produce and synthetic fertilizers. Third, we produce biogas, which reduces our natural gas dependency. And you should consider that food waste represents more than 3 times, the emissions for the aviation sector, for example. So food waste related emissions is something that we can solve with existing technology in the market. So this is really, why this is a huge growing market over the next 5 years as we're trying to reach these net zero targets. The major shift, however, will be a focus on plastics. So first, the focus so far has been to ensuring that the fertilizer produced from the food waste organics recycling contains an absolute minimum amount of residual plastics. These standards today are fairly well established, but many technology providers are not able to provide these results. So there's going to be a consolidation around technology providers who can provide the best results. The twister being one of those technologies. The second portion will be the recovered packaging. In this case, it's also about plastics. We're talking about plastics, packaging, aluminum. And in this case, what we're going to be looking at is how we can reinsert the recovered packaging into the supply chain to really create a circular economy, or for packaging that cannot be recycled, that it's dry enough and clean enough that it can be considered a sustainable combustible fuel. So the fact that the next movement in the next 5 years will really be around those technology providers who are able to bring value to the packaging that's separated out of the food waste. That will really the big impact. And for that, that's something we're just starting to see. In the last few months, the attention has shifted towards this part of the problem. With energy prices and with availability of raw materials, people are really looking at this side of the equation. And so that in that sense, a lot of technology providers that are on the market today are going to have to either reinvent something or they're going to exit the market.
Yeah. Okay, good. Cedric Vanderbeken, CEO of Drycake, many thanks for sharing us a lot of valuable information today. It was a pleasure to having you as our guest, and we are really looking forward to also have you in our future activities.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Bye.
Bye.